Hey oh, Spence Neko here with another figure review. Today we have got the DC Collectables Arrow, the TV show. Arrow. Now, what do we think of this character and actor and portrayal of him in this series? Honestly, love it. It's a lot darker than what I'm used to seeing in the actual the cartoons, the comics. But definitely has a really cool atmosphere and a really great story throughout. Currently watching season 3 and loving it, although the latest cliffhanger was a bit, oh no, which I'm not going to go into any spoilers because you got to just watch it. But what do we think of the actual figure though? Honestly, to me it's kind of a bit of a hit and miss figure. He has a lot of great features, but also a lot of quite terrible ones, which I know they kept costs down by re-releasing the 2-pack Arrow, but I wish they did actually make a new design. And I'll explain why in a bit. But overall, it's an okay figure. Now, straight off the bat, I just want to bring a big thank and a massive shout out to James Stacey, who is the owner of a parallel universe.co.uk. That is the website where I got all of my DC collectible figures which I've been reviewing over the last few days, and the ones I'm going to be doing the next few days. And he was talking to me last night and he said basically to say that he is running a bit low on stock for most of these Arrow figures, unfortunately, but he has pre-ordered the new ones coming in, which is Arsenal, Felicity, Diggle, and then from the Flash we have Captain Cold, which I will be getting as well. So we've got that to look forward to. But seriously, check out Saw, a great place for UK buyer to buy a lot of comic-based figures. And I'd also like to give a shout out to Mephitsu Archives. They are my new partner. Check them out for the latest action figure news and some handwritten reviews. Anyway, onto this guy. So, straight off the bat, unfortunately, I have a slight bone to pick with this one. When I took it out of the box, I put his arrows in his quiver and the quiver just split straight open. Now, this is not a reflection on a parallel universe, as it had nothing to do with him. This is DC Collectables, just a slight quality control issue. Apart from that though, everything else has been absolutely fine. I just took a little bit of super glue and it's all back and everything's hunky and dory. Now in this video I am going to do a comparison between this one and the 2-pack Arrow, and we'll show the differences and we'll show exactly what you're getting. Personally, I prefer this one because I like this bow more, and I like the fact he's got a mask instead of the grease paint. So let's have a closer look at this figure and his accessories. Okay, kicking things off, we do have the actual bow. Now, I think they're told this was a compound bow, but I've not recognised this design before. I'm not very knowledgeable on bows, but I thought most compound bows had a, I don't know what it's called, like a little wheel here and up here, so that you had a double string which kind of increased the tension. But this one doesn't, but it does seem to have like a lot of kind of stuff going on here. Like I said, I'm not very knowledgeable on bows whatsoever, so I don't know. Either way, it's a very cool bow, and actually it does have a nice green paint to it with some black parts on the grip, on here, and on like these kind of, I don't know if they're cables or what they're supposed to be. Either way, it's nice. I am a bit worried it feels a bit delicate here and here, but apart from that it does feel quite sturdy, and he does hold it relatively well. I feel the grip may be a bit thin because they've used the same hand for the other one, and just grabbing the other bow you can see that the grip is a lot thicker. So this one does tend to kind of flop about in his hand a bit, which is a bit unfortunate, to be honest. I could probably heat up the hand and make it thinner, but I don't know if I'll bother. And while we're here, having a close-up look at both of these bows, you can see the difference here. This one is a very traditional kind of bow, does have that knuckle guard there, and this one, as you see, the compound has a lot more going on with it. He then comes with this wad of arrows, which is just to fill his quiver. I think there's a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 6 arrows there. It's kind of hard to tell. Looks like there's only like 3 arrowheads, but definitely there's a lot more than just 3 sticks. But either way, these fit in the quiver really nicely, and they do bulk it out to make it look like he's got quite a lot of arrows there. And you see they've got the yellow and green on each feather, much like the individual arrows. He has 2 of these. And you can see there's 2 green feathers and 1 yellow. The rest of it is black, apart from the actual head itself, which is green. And these can actually fit in the quiver just about with the wad. Having a close-up look at that head with the mask, and here is, as you can see, that both the heads are identical, just with a mask sculpted on this one. And it looks like it's only sculpted around the eyes here, because this part going back isn't sculpted at all, it's just painted on. But apart from that, you can see that basically the faces are identical. Looks like this one's flesh tone is a bit darker maybe than this one, and he's just got that grease paint on the eyes, whereas he, like I said, has got the mask. The stubble looks a bit cleaner on this one compared to that one, but apart from that, the sculpt itself is identical. Hair is exactly the same, features are exactly the same. So having a look at the rest of the suit, you can see actually on the cowl, or the hood there is actually like a bit of fabric folded back onto there. So yeah, I never noticed until I actually looked at the figure. I never noticed that in the series, but once I did see it, then I did see it in the actual series. It's only on the one side though, it's not on this side. But you can see that that does have some great texture to make it look like it is a cloth material instead of a rubber or a leather. It also has a nice intricate design going down here. It looks like I've got a bit of a paint slip here of like some brighter green. It's a bit unfortunate, but I might be able to pick that away, I'm not too sure. Continuing down, and you can see there on the chest, great attention to detail done to the zip and the strap. Now, speaking of the strap for his quiver, in the 2-pack one, if you actually unpeg the torso, you can remove the quiver, but with this one it's actually glued here and it's glued here, so it's unremovable unless you break that glue. Continuing down, you can see here that he's got his little mini darts on his left wrist here, and then some more design on the right wrist, and also he's got a little belt here with some smaller arrows there as well. Never understood the point of these ones, because they're too small to fit in the bow. They're like hand thrown darts, but then so are these. Continuing down, you can see there the strap. Now this is supposed to be attached there, but obviously it's not, so it allows for articulation. To be honest, they could have glued it in, because this is such a soft rubber, I don't think it would hinder it, and it's not like he can get his leg that high or rotate it or anything. Then you come down till he has that leg design of the arrows, and I know it looks like that this one's missing some, but it's just got a bit of dirt over it, but it is there. But I do really like the design on the actual costume with these like arrow shapes going down on the wrist and on the legs. On the side of his legs it does have like a bit more, and if I go up actually on this leg, and you can see he's got like a strip going all the way down there, and it is definitely 2 different colours. You've got like a light green there and a dark green on the outside. And of course his boots there at the bottom, which have that kind of green sole and this little like strap going around the actual top of the boot. Having a look at the back legs, you can see there's a lot of intricate design there, and the back of the knees as well. And then actually on his back he does have that same arrow shape again, and even on the back of his arms. And then of course you have that design on the back of the hood. One thing which I would like to point out is I don't remember this being so prominent. I've seen a design on there, but it seems to be a lot darker than this. And then of course that quiver I mentioned, it literally just split just down here, so like this front plate just fell off. But like I said, it was an easy fix, bit of glue, left it overnight, and it's perfectly fine now, and I can put all the arrows in there. One thing I'd advise is just don't force them in there. So have a quick look at the actual box here. As you can see, we have a big open window on the front there, and on the side it says Arrow, and inside there you can see there's a bit of a cityscape there, kind of Starling City. On the front it says Arrow, DC Comics, and some advertisement and warning. It says here that Arrow is number 4. Yes, I've jumped the queue a few because, you know, figured to get the main 2 out of the way. On the side we have a picture of the actual actor in the costume, not the figure, and it says Arrow, number 4, DC Collectables. On the back it does show you the rest to collect, which is 1 Oliver Queen, 2 Canary, 3 Deathstroke, and 4 Arrow. As I said in my Flash review, I'm not going to be getting this figure as I already have him, plus another one. I don't see the need to get a 3rd Arrow. Looking at the top of the box, you've got a picture of just the word Arrow, and then on the bottom you have lots of warnings and whatnot, so you can read that if you so choose. Okay, size comparison. Arrow stands to the top of his head, literally just under 7 inches tall. Standing next to the Flash, standing next to Canary. Honestly, I think like she should be a bit shorter. Next to the Dark Archer, and next to Deathstroke. Okay, so the only really major difference that I can see here is, 1, he comes with an extra pair of hands. He comes with 2 fist hands. These are the only hands that this one comes with. 2, his costume's a bit more paisley, has a bit more of like a marble effect to it, and his gloves are a bit more of a grey, whereas his are a black. Besides that, and the mask and the bow, they're identical, and the fact that you can remove this if you want. If you did want to remove this one, heat up the upper torso, pop it off, and then this will just slide off over the arm. This one is glued on. Like I said, aside from that, they're identical. Someone said to me they have different neck pegs. I personally cannot see that. They both seem to move in the exact same amount. Speaking of articulation, so the head can go up that much, down that much. You can pivot from side to side. Doesn't like my hand in the camera, does it? Look, it's all wavy, waving at the camera. And you can rotate it around 360 degrees. Now when the hood is up, you do get the same movement, but you are hindered by the hood, and you can't turn the hood to make him look, so he does basically just look into the hood, which is somewhat realistic. Unless it's a very snug fitting hood, you kind of turn in them anyway. So now this is a soft rubber piece, and it is a separate piece, but it is attached at the actual chest. You can rotate the arm around 360 degrees and it won't get hindered by that hood, because like I said, it's soft rubber. But even then, straight up is like that. Go out that far, and looks like green plastic joints in the elbows, in the arms rather. And you can rotate the elbow 360 degrees, a single bend of probably more than 90, but as per usual, the more you go round, the less you get. Now this one you can rotate around 360 degrees and it goes up and down on that angle, whereas this one goes up and down on this angle. Personally, I think that should be the other way around. I think the bow holding hand should be able to pivot up and down, and the arrow holding hand should be able to go in and out. Now he has a diaphragm joint, which is actually really nice. You can go back that far, forward that far. He has no waist articulation whatsoever, and he has T-cut hips. Now when I was saying earlier about some things that I would change, this is definitely one of them, because he can only do a Spartan of that. but he can do a split of that. But the problem is, you get this, and as you can see, it is a green plastic in there. But this, why is it so high? This doesn't need to be this high. If it had been even halfway down, it would have looked so much better. This gaping chunk here just looks awful, and there's no real way to make it look any decent without his legs being perfectly close together. And then, you know, Arrow's a very hunched over character. He does a lot of rolls, does a lot of bending. Definitely would benefit from a double knee bend, but they've only given it a single, and that's about as much as you get. And you can rotate at the knee, but the more you go around, the less you get. Get a boot rotation, 360 degrees, and then an ankle point from there to there, with an ankle pivot from there to there. It's weird, the pivot seems to go kind of like straight down into the foot, so it's like in there. So it's a slight angle, but it's not much. Okay, so final thoughts on this figure. Would I recommend him? To be honest, yes, it's an okay representation of an Arrow character, but honestly, I feel he could have been so much better. Would have been not that hard to actually do. I'm really tempted to make my own one because I am a little bit disappointed with this one. I know it does have a lot going for it, but to be honest, the articulation from the waist down just really kills it for me. Alright, as I was telling you about that bow, is you have way too much play in it. Like I said, the handle is just not designed, or rather the hand is not designed for this smaller type bow, which means you can kind of get some pretty good angles with it, which is cool, but honestly I'd prefer just a snugger fit. But yes, I would recommend this figure. If you are unable to make your own and you really want an Arrow, then yes, this one is a good one to get. Well, this one is an okay one to get. Anyway guys, that is my review. I hope you have enjoyed this video. I hope it's been informative and help you decide which Arrow you prefer to get. It's not really much in a toss-up, to be honest, but you know, every little bit of information helps. So, ta-da! So, if you have any questions you'd like to add about this figure or my channel, please drop them in the comments below. Please like and subscribe, and as usual guys, thanks for watching, keep collecting, I'm going to catch you in my next one. Bye bye.